Hello everybody, and welcome back to Roads Yet Traveled. We are still here with Tyre. He is old and tired. He's helping us out, doing things. We're still an angry, butthurt little friend, Tucker. We're still like this. But, Tyre's doing his thing. He's like, I'm making this for you. I appreciate him. Let me get this window set up. There we go.
So, what are you doing down here?
His expression hides a stern tone. He's asking a question I don't even know the answer to. I was taking a walk. He seems less than impressed.
A walk?
Yeah.
You seemed like you were in shock when I found you. It's understandable if you don't remember. Well, are you alright otherwise? It was quite unexpected to find you down here so early.
I don't know.
I'm sorry to hear that. I think it might be best for if Dr. Seno looked over you as soon as possible, just to make sure.
Yeah.
In the meantime, please try to relax. I was thinking it might be time we finally had a conversation of our own. If you think it's too much, please let me know. And you can just rest if you'd want. Otherwise, I believe I owe you of at least a few explanations.
It's this guy who called me a subject the last time I saw him. I guess he had change of heart, or the captain got him again. It's not like he's about to spill his guts on the floor and tell me everything he knows, but I guess asking couldn't hurt. But what the hell am I supposed to ask about? The list is almost too long to know where to begin. I feel like I would just kind of like shrug and be like, whatever. I don't ask a lot of questions, friends, but when things happen, I just kind of shrug and go like, Well, maybe I do, actually. I'm exhausted, beaten up, and probably going to regret this, but I have to ask. Tyre, what's the Marrowyn? Mæron, what is the star? Ah, okay. I stare at the box as it translates. That is decidedly not what I said. Maybe it was just a translation error. But then, why does Tyre look so confused as well? Almost more so than me.
Yes, I thought you might ask about that. I'll tell you what I can, but first, please, what do you know of it?
I let out a huff and didn't come here to be tested, but fine. It's an engine of some sort, generated enough energy to run this whole place. It's dangerous and can't be used at full power. And it's broken, and you don't know why.
Tucker, what we have here is everything you said and more. It's not just a generator spewing out radiation electromagnetic waves. It's the future for all of Karenkind.
Oh boy. Hearing rhetoric like that certainly raises a brow.
It's the very core of what all of our work here, but you know that already. In short, it's an extremely powerful energy source. Yes, but as you expected, it can be so much more.
Can you tell me where it's from?
No.
Fine. Can you at least tell me more than some shitty spill? Used to intrigue. Wow. Words are gone, by the way. They're gone. Spile used to intrigue. I think that's that word. Yes. Sokna's investors.
Huh. The captain was right about you. Smart enough to cause a stir.
I wish he wouldn't talk about me like I'm not here. Sir,
Oh, right, of course. Well, I doubt you'd be surprised to hear that our project began well before we were even on the station. Our research with the Mæron started all the way back on the Icarod on, Leo.
Io? Is this an I or an L?
Leo.
No one's corrected me in the comments. I can say words however I want.
Although, it wasn't until I met.
His eyes go blank as he cuts himself off. He looks like he wants to swallow back the words, but they've already left. For someone who said I could ask him anything, he seems to be quite tight-lipped all of a sudden. Who did you meet? My expression betrays myself as I wipe my dissatisfaction away. Not all Senos are professors. But they but they may all be liars. Why does it matter? Sorry, that's just the me thing. Like, if someone hides information, it just does not bother me. I'm very much on the they'll tell me with time, or it doesn't matter, right? That information is not pertinent. Ignoring me, he gets up and pours himself something into a glass. I crumble my paper cup further. It looks hard, probably bitter too. There is a sickly dark red color to it, unlike anything I've seen back home. I'm sure it would kill me. For but a moment, I wish it'd kill him. He downs it, looking at me from over his shoulder. His expression settles and he regains some composure. We both know it's fake. We both wear masks. I put on a harmless smile as he prepares to retch up the best lie he can think of. We smile at each other before he continues.
Oh, my contact at Sognos. It wasn't until I met them that I was introduced to the Icarod team.
You know, you could just call him out, be like, did you meet X? Like, I'll just throw it out there. See how he reacts, and you push him into a corner that way if you want to. Or you can be a butt. It's what Tucker is best at. A lie within a lie? Or perhaps just another truth. I'll take it at face value, although I'm unsure of what I should believe now that I'm here. He never said he'd tell me everything. It would be nice if he just said it was private instead of trying to confuse me. Is that when you started working for them?
Oh no, Sognos wasn't founded until, have you, been informed of what happened to the Icarod? The one on Lio?
I have.
Right. Good, that's good. But, Sognos wasn't founded until after we lost the Icarod. They are the survivors, making sure it would never happen again. The crisis forced change. And Lio backed the next best thing with the joint development of Icarod 2.
So that's the only reason, excuse me, any of this happened. Sure, I mean, it makes sense, but damn.
The station itself wasn't as, old as this one before everything fell apart. I wasn't about aboard at the time, if that wasn't obvious.
How old was the station when it fell?
Only some 20-odd cycles.
Then there's a moment of silence. It's a re-embrace of remembrance. Not that that's... Whoa. Words are hard, guys. Remembrance of tragedy I may not have even been alive for. It clearly means a lot to Tyre, more than he's willing to tell me. I didn't appreciate that many of those he worked with might not have survived. In fact, I'm willing to bet they didn't. Right, I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't have to be, but thank you. Back to the Icarod, though. It wasn't until we built a
chassis?
For the Mæron that we were able to get any work done.
We?
Oh, the researchers I worked with before. As a team, we spearheaded most of what we have in terms of research on the Mæron.
So, is that why you can't fix it? You lost too many people in the disaster.
You're partially correct. We're missing some of the sentimental documentation that recorded our findings. Without that work, it became harder to keep it functional.
Except until recently, huh?
What do you mean?
Well, it brought me here. I'm guessing it's never done anything like that before, right?
No, it hasn't, although I doubt it was intended to do that.
And you're sure? You're sure you know what it intends on doing? I can take the lies. I'm used to being spoken down to. But I'm tired of my situation being reduced to someone else's mistake. Someone, somewhere, made a choice, and now I'm paying for it. I'm sorry, please continue.
Right. The chassis.
I'm starting to see why the captain might act like she does sometimes. Although I don't intend on being as mean as her. Yet.
While the chassis is important, it's not the only moving part in the story. The other team is where the research comes in, and I fear what may have been the cause of all of this.
What do you mean?
Well, the Mæron can output an amazing amount of power without being told where it is to direct it. It ends up being, well, catastrophic. It's only due to my neural-based system that we have an attempt at guiding it.
Oh, I guess that would explain how he's still able to work on it at all, really. The captain did say he was an expert on it. The only one.
Let me explain. Think of the Mæron as a battery of a monitor, and then the chassis is its case. I provide the programming to let them communicate. And in this most recent experiment, we tried something new.
Well, congratulations, Professor. I think whatever you did might have worked.
You jest, but you may be correct. Whatever changes I made to the neurals seem to have allowed for something, but we're still unsure as to what.
What do you mean by that? I'm here. Isn't that enough?
Enough. Tucker, we have no idea why you're here. I didn't want that. I didn't want any of this. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I never would have wanted to tear you away from your life, and I sure as void didn't tell the Mæron to do that.
I believe him, but it doesn't change my mood. So, what did you change then?
That's the question, isn't it? They were multiple changes, most of which I thought were superficial.
Superfluous, sorry. Superfluous? Superfluous. That word. You know it. I like half pronounced it.
Either way, we can't check the internal systems until the Mæron is safe to interact with again. All of the data we got back from the peripheral machines turned out to be garbled nonsense, mostly repeated numbers and words. Which isn't the first time it's done that either.
Huh. Well, how long until that happens? How long until I can stop doing whatever this is?
Tucker, I'm not sure that there will ever be a time that you can stop. I'm sorry.
Right. I should have expected as much. It's taken him almost 100 cycles just to get this far. Who knows how long it will take him to fix any of this.
But the Mæron should be safe for personal use in another few days.
Right, when Sokna shows up.
Correct. They know about the test, just not the outcome.
I can hide away, I guess. Although I doubt that's going to be easy with the whole station knows I exist.
I hadn't thought of that. If introductions need to be made, I'll be sure you're well prepared.
Thanks.
Of course. But, was that a sufficient explanation? I'm sorry it's not something that can be explained easily.
He puts his elbow on his desk and rests his head, his muzzle just breaching the that's what that says, breaching the bridge of his fingers. It's almost I'd almost say he's trying to look intimidating if he weren't so short. Well, that just makes him cuter, right? Is that enough? I mean, it's a generator. I knew that already. Some fucked up and weird engine that no one knows how to fix and no one can predict. Even still, something's off. He can tell me its history, but not where it's from. They didn't create it, did they? Didn't we already know that? No, he was specific. They built the chassis. Chassis? Is this the chassis? Is that how this is worded? Not chassis? Is it chassis? He built the neural. So, where's the battery from? Does he even know? I rub my eyes and stare blankly at the ceiling. I'm not going anywhere. That's the end of it, really. I can ask another day, maybe one where I'm less battered and bruised. I know that's, there's more to it though, sorry. Add in words and syllables where they don't need to be. No, I think I understand. Just be careful with it, please. I know you're dedicated your life to this thing, but it's not worth losing more lives over. He lowers his brow, hiding more and more behind the mask. I struck a chord. One I did not mean to. I merely meant my own life. Excuse me. But has this thing really taken its toll in flesh? No, I need to know more before I come to that conclusion.
Of course. We'll be under close scrutiny from Soknos until we... excuse me, where we can get things sorted out here. I promise you, Tucker, I'll do everything I can.
Dino. I'll believe it when I see it. Words muttered under my breath, still find purchase as Tyre lets out a small sigh. A tenacious? Is that what that word is? Silence forms before an idea blooms, that's what that says. I do have one question, actually.
Yes.
How damaged is it? He looks nervous, like this is a question he's answered before, and the response is already bad.
It's irreparable. But it's been like that for cycles. The damage hasn't seemed to change the functionality, though. And it's not like we can fix it without her research anyways.
Her? That must have been an accident, but no. I think that was the first truth tonight. I wonder if, whoever she is, she's to blame for all of this. No. I can clearly, just blame Tyre instead. Even the captain thinks that's alright. I don't think he notices his mistake. He's just looking over his cobbled-together device.
Well, how about this, huh? I think I should be able to get something a bit less, bulky finished in a few days. I've been forbidden to work on the Mæron until Soknos gets here anyways. Not that I could care.
What are you talking about?
The translator. It's not the best, I know. I think I'm going to have to find a better way to transport it. But for a prototype, I'd say it works fairly well.
I'm inclined to disagree, but I just nod anyway. He happily turns about knobs on his device as I watch him through half-lidded eyes. This man in front of me, who is he? Is he a genius or a thief? The captain seems to think he's both, and I'm inclined to agree. Better the words from his mouth, though. I could at least ask. Can you just tell me about yourself, more than just the superficial titles? I couldn't have said it better myself. Strange talking box. Maybe it is working as intended after all.
You want to know about me? Well, I suppose that's not all that surprising. But if you're interested, I can certainly oblige. Although I have not introduced myself enough.
Oh, have I not introduced myself enough?
Well, I'm unsure if you know this, but The crane in front of you is 147 cycles old. Almost 148. So, I might not be able to shorten down everything for you, but I think I can give a summary of some kind. Let's see. Well, I was born on Lyo, and this was before the raising of the towers. The Sky Pillars, sorry.
That doesn't explain it better at all.
I know you have the impression that all Senos are researchers and doctors, but my parents were farmers. We made enough to get by, sure, but things were calmer in the belt during that time. I'm not sure how much there is to say on my early life. Truly, nothing of note really happened until I got to work on the Icarod. I believe I was already in my 60s at the time, already graying too. But oh my, what a station. Far nicer than this pale imitation. But she gets the job done.
For a station that crashed and burned, they really speak of it as though it was some godsend. Maybe it was worth the sorrow in the end.
This was before Soknos, as you know, so I didn't have a name for myself at the time. None of us were prepared for the amount of work it would take just to keep projects running there. Crews were brought in and cut only days apart. Funding came and went like it was nothing. Some of the best humanitarian work I've ever seen was done in a blink of an eye on that station. Maybe that's why it couldn't last. But it worked out in the end. I managed to get a spot working on the, what was it called again? The Experimental Mass the department. Something along those lines. We were really just a group of psychiatrists who wanted a more interesting title. Either way, it was a bizarre team. No one really knew what they were doing, but we managed to get enough funding to ascertain ourselves a few cycles. Eventually, we managed to get a government contract, huge in fact, but we couldn't understand why until, of course, it all made sense.
Huh?
The Mæron. They brought us the Mæron.
I cocked my head. Does he mean to tell me it was just gifted to him? Surely not, but then... my head's spinning. Not only is my jaw throbbing, but I suddenly have 20 more questions for him. 20 more lies he could tell me. So wait, I'm sorry, but who brought it to you?
Alright. At the time, there was a team of lion scientists working on some preliminary research on the device. When they got wind of our expertise lineup, we merged teams and worked for them.
Sure, okay, that sounds feasible. Wait, fuck, no. He said he wouldn't tell me where the Mæron came from, but all of a sudden he's telling me he got it from some lion researchers just like that. No, that can't be right. He must be lying again. It's a half-truth at best. I let out a small groan and rubbed my eyes. Fortunately, it seems that Tyre just thinks I'm tired as he offers me another cup of water. I decline and wave him along in his story.
Well, after the Icarod tragedy, our research was almost brought to a complete halt. We're lucky anything survived, really. When we hear the Soknos was looking into a new orbital station, however, we had to stake our claim. I took up the leadership role and rallied what was left of the original team. I suppose the rest is history, so we've been working almost non-stop since then.
How long ago was that?
About 40 cycles or so. The station itself was built fairly quickly, but she's already been in service for twice as long as the original. I've been there musing of another station being built, like I can't keep up with it all.
He's been working at the same project for over 60 cycles then? 40 of which were probably in this office. I mean, he's dedicated, that's for sure. Wait a minute. If he's been here for that long, where does Marrowyn fit in all this? Tyre, when did you meet Marrowyn?
Huh? I figured you would ask that at some point.
What is that?
Of course, Marrowyn. My son.
Even if he didn't say that in a biting tone, his phrasing alone feels like a call for alarm.
Marrowyn wasn't even born before I started working on the Icarod 2. He's fortunate enough to have missed most of the tragedies that have befallen the Karens, and not to say that he's, without his own hardships. I'm sure you're aware of his condition.
I believe so, yes. His heart?
Yes, he was born without it, or so I was told. I didn't meet the boy until he was already 6 or 7 cycles old. You should have seen him. He already came up to here.
He raises his hand above his head. He almost sounds proud, a stark contrast to his introduction. He laughs himself out of a small stupor and listlessly looks off to the side. Is he looking at the photos from earlier? No, certainly not. I saw those, and he was barely in them.
It was a chance encounter, really. It was back on Lyo to give a talk, and he was just there. Something about the orphanage giving a tour that day, I truly couldn't remember at this point. But oh, he was such a cute pup.
The words sound like a whisper as they leave his withered lips. He glances back at me and straightens himself up.
After I heard of his condition, I knew I had to do something. He was lucky to have lived for so long without the replacement, and I was glad to assist his recovery. He even had his own Nero. It was custom made by his father.
He swirls, he swirls what's left of his drink in his glass, okay. Something's missing, but this time I can't bring myself to pry further.
Did you know he wanted to be an astronaut? He grew out of it, I suppose. I fear his love of medication sprouted from that moment, and I suppose I can't blame him. He's done well for himself, and that's all I could ask for, really.
He sounds like he's trying to convince himself more than anything. It's almost saddening. I knew Tyre wasn't particularly happy with Marrowyn's life choices, but he almost seems like he's lost something crucial to his very being. He's a good man. This is usually the part where a dad says he sure is, longingly and lovingly. Hell, even my dad would, and he's barely home half the time. But instead, Tyre just swirls his near empty glass.
He would have made a better astronaut.
I have to change the subject. This is hard, even for me. I can't imagine what's going through his mind right now. I'm going to have to talk to Marrowyn about this at some point. Well, that's it then, yeah. You made your home here and have been working since?
Well, it's not that simple, but yes, we have. As much as working under Sognos can feel like a burden, I'm glad to do it, especially if it allows me to keep working with Mæron. Although...
He cuts himself off again. I feel like he's partially begging me to intrude at this point. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, I'm gonna end the part here, everyone. So I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around.